Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Jolene's story time. Today we are going to be reading Strega Nona's Gift. Now, remember back last month when I introduced you to Strega Nona, right? We read Strega Nona and we read Strega Nona's Harvest. So we are going to continue with this character. Her name is Strega Nona, if you remember. And this book is by the author Tomie de Paola, the same as the others. So let's get started on this book and find out what happens to Strega Nona in this story. Here's our title page, Strega Nona's Gift. Everyone in the little village in Calabria, including Strega Nona, had been busy in the kitchens and at their tables since the month of December began. First was the feast of St. Nicholas, on December 6th. The children got to choose the food for this feast because St. Nicholas was said to love children. The next feast was on December 13th, the feast of Santa Lucia, Saint Lucy. In her honor, a special pudding was made with soft wheat berries and ricotta cheese. As the weeks went by, Strega Nona kept Big Antony very busy with errands. When Bambolona had to go back into the village to help her father, Papa Bambo, at the bakery, Big Antony had an idea. Strega Nona, Big Antony said, since Bambolona isn't here, I am ready to help you in the kitchen. Oh, Strega Nona replied, that is very nice of you, Big Antony, but I can manage just fine. Besides, you have plenty to do. You know, Big Antony said with a smile, you're right, Strega Nona. Oh, that was close, thought Strega Nona. December 24th was La Vigilia, Christmas Eve. Every house in the village was cooking fish for the Feast of the Seven Fishes. There was no meat served on Christmas Eve, and no meat was eaten until after the midnight mass. After the Mass, everyone climbed the little hill to Strega Nona's for her annual Christmas feast. There were tables and tables of food. The Zampagonari, shepherds from Abruzzi, were there to sing. The villagers and children danced under the stars to celebrate the birth of baby Jesus. A rosy light appeared in the sky. Everyone went home for a good big sleep. After all, there was still a whole week of festas left. On December 31st, New Year's Eve, was the feast of San Silvestro, Saint Sylvester. Big Antony, Strega Nona said, you must eat your lentils and rice pudding. You won't be prosperous next year if you don't. Strega Nona, Big Antony asked, will it be all right if I go down to the village to watch the New Year bonfire? Everyone will be there. Of course, caro. Only be careful when the church bell rings at midnight. Hide in a doorway or under an archway. You know that people throw old things they no longer want out the windows. I heard that Senora Anita threw her old stove last year. It nearly killed Senor Mayor. I'll be careful, Antony promised. Oh, and don't forget to wear your red underwear. Everyone has to wear their red underwear for Capodanno, New Year. It brings good luck. On January 5th, the eve of Epiphany, the Feast of the Three Kings, once again everyone was cooking, but this time for their animals. There was a legend that at midnight on the eve of Epiphany, all animals could speak to each other. It was because the ox and the donkey kept the baby Jesus warm with their breath in the manger. So the villagers wanted to give their animals a feast. No one wanted their animals gossiping with each other about how poorly fed or mistreated they were. Strega Nona was cooking wonderful dishes for her rabbit, her peacock, her dove, and especially her goat. Delicious smells that came out of the kitchen nearly drove Big Antony crazy, so when Strega Nona called him in for supper, he almost knocked the door down. But there, at his place at the table, was a plain dish of pasta from Strega Nona's pasta pot. On the counter were 4 dishes that looked and smelled so good. "What are those dishes?" Big Antony asked. "Those are special dishes for the animals. It's a special night for them. There are carrots for the rabbit, corn cakes for the peacock, sweet seeds for the dove, and turnips stuffed with greens and sesi for the goat. As soon as you finish your pasta, take Signora Goat's dish out to her, please." Big Antony stopped outside the goat shed. "I'll just take a tiny taste." "Oh, that's so good," said Big Antony as he tasted more and more. "Santo cielo, it's all gone," cried Big Antony as he looked down at the empty plate. He quickly filled the plate with hay and oats and left it at the window of the goat shed and quietly ran away. As Strega Nona tidied up her kitchen, she thought of all the villagers and how they had all worked so hard for their animals all day, and how they probably all had simple suppers like she and Big Antony. "I'll give everyone a gift," she said, and she opened her ancient book. "I will give everyone a wonderful dream, a dream about food." And sure enough, as each one of the villagers drifted off to sleep, everyone seemed to turn to food. The fountain poured out milk and honey. The walls turned into ricotta and mozzarella. Bedposts became sausages, and bedsheets changed into sheets of lasagna. While the villagers were sleeping, the animals gathered. The animals gathered in the square to tell each other what amazing food they had been given that night. "The sisters gave us the most delicious fried fish," said the cats from the convent. "What did Strega Nona give you, Signora Goat?" "I don't know. Big Antony ate it all before I even had a look at it." "That's terrible," said the mayor's dog. "What did you do?" "I ate his blanket," Signora Goat answered. "I'll bet he's so cold that he doesn't sleep all night." And Big Antony didn't sleep. And because he didn't sleep, he didn't dream about all the wonderful food. And he was not only cold, he was very hungry. The next morning, the day of Epiphany, everyone except Big Antony had full stomachs from the dream they received from Strega Nona. In the early afternoon, everyone gathered once again at Strega Nona's house to celebrate the Feast of Epiphany. First, everyone took a piece of cake. Whoever had the piece that had a fava bean in it would become the king or queen of the feast. "Hooray, look!" some of the men shouted. "It's Big Antony!" They all carried King Antony around the table on their shoulders and sat him down in the special chair. "Well, Big Antony, because you are king, and the 3 kings brought gifts to the child Jesus, what would you like for a gift?" Strega Nona asked. "A new blanket," Big Antony answered, and he added some of that delicious turnip dish you made for Signora Goat last night. "Pronto," said Strega Nona. Here we see she's getting him a blanket, and she's making the dish. "Here you are, King Antony," Strega Nona said, and buonanotte. That's good night. "Grazie, Strega Nona," said Big Antony. "Thank you." and big Antony wrapped himself in his new blanket and knocked on Signora Goat's window. He held out the dish of turnips. "Let's have a truce," he said, and presto, the holiday season was over for another year. So he made things right by taking the turnips to the goat, didn't he, for Epiphany? So there are you saw a lot of holidays that Italians celebrate during the month of December. On December 6th, they have the Feast of San Nicola, and he loved children. So it's known as the Children's Feast, and the children get to pick the food. On December 13th is the Feast of Santa Lucia, and the legend says that she was blinded for her faith, but her sight was restored because of her faith. And so they make a dish called cuccia. It's made with ricotta cheese and sugar and boiled whole wheat berries. And that's what they eat for her feast. December 24th is the Feast of La Vigilia, Christmas Eve, and that people celebrate and wait up until midnight for the birth of baby Jesus, is what they say, and no meat is allowed. So it is traditional to eat seafood at that time. And the 25th, of course, is Christmas, and Natale is Italian, which means birthday. So when you sing happy birthday to someone in Italian, they say Natale. And so here they have a midnight mass, and they eat lots of meats because they didn't eat meat the day before. And on the 31st is the Feast of San Silvestro, New Year's Eve, right? And they have lentils and sliced sausages for good luck, and they wear red underwear for New Year's. And that's when also people throw out their things they no longer want, so they can start the new year with not their old things anymore, but starting out anew. And on January 6th the 5th is the Eve of Epiphany. So most people don't really celebrate the Eve of Epiphany, but just the day. But in Italy, they believe that the animals can talk to each other, and so they feed their animals very well so that they say good things about them. And they also say that in this region of Italy, that on this night, rivers and fountains run with wine and olive oil. And then on the day of Epiphany, there is a feast that commemorates the arrival of the Magi. And that's the 3 wise men who brought gifts to baby Jesus. And that is where the king cake comes from. Here in Texas, or in Houston at least, we usually celebrate that on a different holiday. But originally, king's cake was meant for Epiphany, or the arrival of the 3 wise men. So you can see there are so many celebrations in Italy in the month of December. They're kept very, very busy. And I hope you enjoyed Strega Nona's gift, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for joining me.